Hi, and welcome to Sussing Life with me, Hamish Somerville. 3 ways to know yourself. Do you know yourself? Would you like to know yourself better? 3 ways to understand myself, yourself, whatever self, as immaterialism, as consciousness, and as non-duality. 3 big steps, 3 big conclusions. Firstly, materialism is a flawed way of looking at life. Secondly, consciousness is what we are. We are consciousness. We are not material beings. We may manifest as material beings, but we are consciousness. And what's more than being just consciousness, we are all part of one shared universal consciousness, selflessness. One shared universal being. So let's get straight into immaterialism, understanding materialism and the flaws in materialism. The big question is, does consciousness arise from matter in our brains, as materialism would tell us? And is this taught worldwide in schools and universities? Or could it be that it's the other way round? Our brains arise from consciousness. Everything arises from consciousness. Whether we call ourselves Christians, Muslim, Hindus, Buddhists, communists, humanists, or whatever it is, 95% of humanity look at life from a fundamentally materialist point of view. I was brought up in a so-called Christian country, but the culture was materialism. So why is materialism flawed? My answer to that is to look at it from the point of view of impermanence, to see that I manifest as a material body, but that is an appearance. What I am is consciousness. The consciousness doesn't change, but the material body, my thoughts, feelings, sensations, perceptions, my personality, as we'll see, all these things are permanently changing. Impermanence. All things, all objects, all thoughts, all feelings, all sensations, all perceptions, our personalities, constantly changing every nanosecond. Immaterialism. We are mind stuff. We are consciousness. Material things which we think exist out there are impermanent, divisible, and interdependent. They're not there in the way that we think they're there. We think we are our bodies, our thoughts, our feelings, our sensations, our perceptions, our personalities. But that's not what we are. What we are is the I or the you that is there when we're waking up in the morning, there when we go to sleep at night, and doesn't change. And as far as I can see, my I hasn't changed since I was a child. The I that I am and knows I am is the subject, the experiencer, not an object, the subject. If I were really an object, the appearances, how I manifest, there would be trillions of me all over the place because I'm changing every nanosecond. But the I that I am is not matter. The I that I am is pure consciousness. Consciousness. And for me, a huge help in understanding consciousness has been working with personality types. Personality types were introduced into modern psychiatry and medicine by Carl Jung, the Swiss psychiatrist. He said that for him, personality types were like a compass that helped him find his way with people. And my Sussing Life compass has helped me enormously. A very, very simple, and I stress simple, model of 4 personality types who, for me, function like stars functioned for mariners and seamen in days of yore when they found their way at sea by looking at the stars. These four extreme stereotypical human beings help me to get a feeling for where I'm coming from and where other people are coming from at different times and in different situations. 4 types on a compass instead of north and south, feeling and thinking instead of west and east, listening and talking. And in the corner between feeling and talking, outgoing, energetic enthusiasts that get the colour bright red, full of energy and enthusiasm. And in the corner between talking and thinking, the stereotypical bosses who get the colours black and white, people who see things black and white, people who know what they want to be in charge, they're very objective oriented, and they have very clear goals. And in the corner between listening and thinking, people who work more with logic, people who gather information, listen, people who are very reliable, pay great attention to detail, check the details. The checkers get the colour conservative blue, and in the final corner, between listening and feeling, the harmonizers who get the colour environmental green. People who like to create a warm, friendly environment. People who like to arrive at harmony and consensus. People who listen to other people, who like to help other people. Warm, open, friendly, harmonizer. So these are my 4 types. And working with these 4 types and trying to role play them, trying to see myself from their point of view, has helped me enormously to understand the good points and the bad points. And I've learned more about human beings from working with personality types than from anything else. And I'm convinced that you can too. Personality, what actually makes us the way we are? If you look at it from a materialist point of view, as taught in schools and universities around the world, they'll tell you that your personality arises from your brain. Your matter, the matter in your brain gives rise to your consciousness, to your thoughts, feelings, and personality. But there is a much, much simpler explanation which can be traced back to the ancient Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu. Our thoughts become words, our words become actions, our actions become habits, and our habits become our character. Simple as that. And if you think about it, instead of looking at it from a materialist point of view and trying to understand it in terms of neurology and psychology and psychiatry and physiology and anatomy, if you simply look at it from why are we how we are, and think about children, if children are brought up in an enthusiastic environment and enthusiasm works, they're likely to become enthusiasts. Same with bossing. Same with checking, same with harmonizing. We learn to be how we are from exposure to behaviors. Our personalities. The word personality comes from the Latin word persona, for a mask. The masks that Roman actors wore to tell the public which role they were playing. And our personalities, that's the role we're playing on the great stage of the theatre of life, or in the great game of life. Our personality, persona, Latin, a mask. We are not our thoughts, feelings, perceptions, sensations, personalities, etc. These are how we manifest. What we are is pure consciousness. So know yourself as consciousness. Consciousness does not arise from matter in our brains, as is taught in schools and universities worldwide. And we can really understand consciousness with analogies that consciousness is like the pure blue sky, and our thoughts and feelings, our manifestations, are like the clouds that come and go in the sky. Or As another analogy, like holograms that come and go in space, or like a film that arises from the consciousness, which is like the light bulb in an old-fashioned film projector. That brings us to the third way of looking at life, as non-duality or selflessness. The question there is, having accepted that we are consciousness, are we separate beings, separate selves, or could it be we are one shared universal being? I've been looking into myself for 60 years now to find a separate self or a separate being, and I haven't found it. I'm convinced it's not there, and I don't think you'll find it either. There is one shared universal being. We are all part of one shared universal self, one shared universal will. 3 ways to understand myself, yourself, whatever self: as immaterialism, as consciousness, and as non-duality or selflessness. My aim is to check my understanding and ask for comments, invite discussion, so we can get to know ourselves better. I hope I've convinced you, but if I haven't convinced you, I very, very much hope you'll get in touch so we can get into discussion and I can get to know myself better and maybe you'll get to know yourself better. Thanks for listening. Thanks for subscribing. Don't forget the book, and hope to see you soon.